We're joined by an attorney representing Lana Drews, Eric Fudali. Thanks so much, Eric, for coming in. Why was it important for your client to come forward and share her story now?
So it really wasn't just on behalf of herself. My client, Ms. Drews, had watched Mr. Swalwell deny the claims of the other 4 women who had come out against him, blame it on, political, having political motivations, that sort of thing. So that really disturbed her, watching him sort of deny and sort of denigrate those claims. And I think she decided, it's time for her to come forward. She had been suffering in silence for a long time, but it wasn't just for her. It was for her to finally, face the person who she alleges abused her, but also on behalf of the other women who had made such courageous allegations against such a powerful person, and he had denied those.
A statement for Swalwell, his attorney issued on his behalf, says categorically and unequivocally denies each and every allegation of sexual misconduct and assault that has been leveled against him. She called the allegations false, fabricated, and deeply offensive. She also said this on News Nation the other night about the accusations.
2 adults consenting, which is our position, is not against the law. And so what I say to jurors, I'm going to tell your audience, regret is not rape. It's just no coincidence that this is now being done as a political hit job on the eve of, a governor run in California where he was leading the race.
You touched on the timing a little bit, but what do you say to that? And why wouldn't your client want to come forward sooner?
I can say this has absolutely nothing to do with politics. We don't look at this as Republican versus Democrat. This is really about right versus wrong. She suffered in silence a long time, and she was afraid of the political power and of Mr. Swalwell, and that's understandable. I represent a lot of victims who've made such serious allegations, and usually it takes a very long time for someone not just to come to terms with what happened, but then to be ready to actually publicly make those allegations, especially when it's someone so powerful, so in the media. So I think it took both other women coming forward for her to feel empowered, for her to feel courageous enough, and for her to feel ready to finally come forward and not just support herself, but support those other women. But I can absolutely assure you that this has nothing to do with politics. I have no interest in Mr. Swalwell's political, affiliations or anything like that. This is about right versus wrong, justice and accountability, nothing to do with politics.
Let's talk about what justice looks like here. We know the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says it is launching an investigation. What do you want to see happen now? What does justice look like?
Well, that's going to be entirely up to the Los Angeles Sheriff's County and the District Attorney's Office. We are absolutely doing everything we can to facilitate and help that investigation. We made a formal complaint yesterday immediately following the press conference. The next step was going right to the Sheriff's Office. We are now in the process of providing all evidence and information they want. We are being very cooperative. Then it's up to them as to where they want to take it. I understand that there's also a criminal investigation perhaps taking place here in Manhattan. The District Attorney in Los Angeles has said they are going to investigate. So we're going to leave that up to them, but we're going to absolutely help facilitate and cooperate with that criminal investigation.
After some of these allegations came out and multiple women now have come forward, we've heard from some of Swalwell's now former colleagues on the Hill talk about rumors about Swalwell that they had heard. Let's watch.
The rumors I heard were that he was just a flirty social guy. That's it. I think a lot of people in D.C. treat these kinds of rumors as just like part of the course of playing, here or something like that.
I think that this was probably an open secret among some Democrats on the Hill, and they definitely would have found it in the opposition research. You have 50 of his staff coming forward. They were contacting my office, Katie, asking me to not withdraw the motion for his expulsion until he actually had it in writing that he had resigned because they did not trust that he would do the right thing.
Eric, you have worked with lawmakers before when it comes to accusations of assault. I'm thinking specifically of Jeffrey Epstein. Swalwell himself was even critical of the administration's handling of the Epstein files. What goes through your mind when you hear that?
This is so disturbing. To hear that this was an open secret or rumors. These are congressmen. This isn't some random group of people. This is our elected officials, lawmakers in this country who we have to be able to trust. To hear that there were rumors and perhaps perhaps it was an open secret that Swalwell was engaging in this type of behavior, A, is really disturbing and absolutely something that everyone should be concerned about. But B, is something now that we are looking into liability-wise to see what Congress did actually know, what sort of secrets were kept, what sort of rumors were out there. Were there more than rumors? Were there actually efforts to hide certain allegations under the rug? We're absolutely now investigating those claims to see if perhaps someone other, there was some liability here on behalf of Swalwell's team or even Congress.
And at the end of the day, again, we're talking about people's lives who've been changed. Mm-hmm. What's next for your client?
Well, she's going through a lot. It was very brave of her and not an easy decision to use her name, right? I mean, she not only went right in front of the camera, stared into the camera, a very packed room full of media for that press conference yesterday, told a very disturbing story that has been staying with her, that she's been suffering in silence with for a long time. But she also used her name. And from my last conversation, with her, that she's getting a lot of comments, a lot of people commenting her, the media, investigators, random people, the public. So she really put herself out there. Right now, her focus is on justice. Her focus is on helping law enforcement investigate, providing the evidence, being there to cooperate, and just taking this one step at a time. That now she's sort of this public figure thrust into this very big deal in the United States, the sort of controversy involving Congress and what they knew, and a very high-profile former congressman. So she's just sort of taking this one step at a time, hoping justice is going to play out and just keeping her focus on the criminal investigation at this point.